Hello again, and welcome to another edition of the European Soccer Show. With me, as ever, in his new position, apparently beneath me, which is not metaphorical at all, is Leo. Leo, how are you down there?
Hey, above me, Daniel. How are you?
Oh, my ego is well stroked. Thank you for putting me up here.
Boss Daniel.
Yes, my lofty love for things. Delusions of grandeur, I believe the term is. Yes, so excited to talk about things today, bringing everybody the top leagues in Europe. Headlines for you. Well, the first bit of silverware in England has been won as Manchester City defeated Arsenal. A tasty little starter that is this rivalry for the rest of the season. And elsewhere, we see Spurs in tears, Man United throwing toys out the pram, and Newcastle. Well, they crossed a black cat, and we all know that's bad luck. In La Liga, it's getting incredibly spicy at the bottom. That came out wrong. Apologies. Whereas the relegation battle hots up. Well, at the top, Barca and Real Madrid doing what they both do so very well. Elsewhere in Italy, we may actually. 2 weeks ago, we said the title race is back on. Last week, we ruled the fact that it wasn't, and now it may well be again as AC Milan claw back around on Inter as they drop points to a relegation-threatened side. In the Bundesliga, Hoffenheim slip and Leipzig take charge of the Champions League qualification as Bayern and Borussia Dortmund still pull further clear in the top two. In League, Lens get back to winning ways. Paris Saint-Germain continue their gap at the top. But once again, the fight for European qualification is getting tasty. So we're going to start in England. And like I say, the first bit is silverware. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 2 in the League Cup final. I'm not sure if you saw this, but I was wondering what you thought of it. Because, of course, this is the top two in the Premier League going head-to-head. They face each other again in about 5 weeks' time. Do you believe this is the sort of result that can give Manchester City that momentum required to really charge towards the end of the season? Or do you think this is simply one-off?
Firstly, if we just talk about the game, I think that both in terms of the result and the manner of the victory, Manchester City have sent a strong message to Arsenal. They really deserved this victory. Pep Guardiola has now won 5 League Cup with Manchester City since he arrived in the Premier League. And of course, I think Arsenal are now facing a new kind of pressure because they head into the final sprint of the season. But for me, the question is, will this have kind of an impact on the Premier League? Personally, I don't really think so, and I think. Even if they would have preferred to win this medal and this trophy, it's a good thing that it happened so early in this third part of the season. It will help them to anticipate the events, to know how to deal with pressure, because this team hasn't won anything yet. So I think it's something interesting for them.
Manchester City went trophyless last season, and they've ensured that this season won't be the same with at least the League Cup. Arsenal, on the other hand, the last trophy was the FA Cup in Mikel Arteta's first season, which I believe was 5 seasons ago now. And about £1.3 billion spent on players since.
Yeah.
Still, as we discussed before, the manager who spent the most money and not to have a trophy in that time.
Yeah.
Yes, a couple of goals for Nico O'Reilly. The first one coming from a caper mistake. Much has been made of the fact that both of these sides regularly play. It's one of those competitions where most teams play their second goalkeeper, and both teams stay true to that even in the final. I suppose the fact that Manchester City could call on James Trafford speaks volumes about the fact that just a stronger second goalkeeper option. But secondly, do you think Mikel Arteta actually made a mistake in starting Kepa, or should he have just tried to win the trophy? Because it was Kepa's mistake, and he has, unfortunately, history with this competition.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand Mikel Arteta's will to give chance to his second goalkeeper, but at some point, when you are Arsenal, when you need to send a message to your number one competitor, because Manchester City are in the Premier League, I think, and it's a cup final, you absolutely need to send the strongest team possible, because a project isn't something good if you don't win title. And imagine Arsenal dropping the EFL Cup, losing the Premier League, not winning the FA Cup. What about their season? We have talked about how good Mikel Arteta had been doing with this team, even if, of course, they spent a lot of money, but he has made Arsenal a team capable of winning trophies. But if he don't, if he doesn't, sorry, it would be a problem. And I'm guessing when his management will allow him to not win anything.
Yeah, turning our attention to the Premier League, the two big sort of topics being European qualification and the relegation battle. Let's start with the last match of the weekend, where 16th Tottenham Hotspur took on 17th Nottingham Forest in a real must-win for Spurs. Must-win indeed. They ended up losing 3-0 at home with goals from Gibbs White and Awoniyi in the second half. Jesus rose again, much like, well, it is Easter soon, to head in the first. But yeah, this was a bit of a capitulation for Spurs. So Nottingham Forest leapfrog Spurs. Spurs stay out the relegation by 1 point because West Ham United lost at Aston Villa 2-0. And elsewhere, Leeds United had a 0-0 against Brentford, which means that, yes, Spurs 1 point out. It's hard to make a case. It's getting harder and harder to make a case for Spurs staying up, isn't it? Which is an astonishing thing to say. But the fact is that Leeds United, they do have the longest streak without winning, or sorry, second behind
Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs, who have yet to win a match in 2026. It is quite an astonishing thing to say. And we almost expect that at some point they have to win a game. Surely they have to win one, probably two matches because their squad is good enough. But every single performance, the second they seem to hit any sort of resistance or any sort of hardship and difficulty, they immediately crumble. Or at least until this last week, because last week they had a great result against Liverpool, showing a bit of fight and determination. They had a great result against Atletico Madrid in midweek, and suddenly we thought, hey, this might be the moment. This might be the thing. And just suddenly, 3-0 at home to Forest. Yeah. It's a bad look, not just on the team, but for Igor Tudor.
I can't imagine how much pressure Tottenham's player got on their shoulders at the moment. They seem to play with fear in their feet, and I can understand that because, of course, they only have 1 point more than West Ham, and the fact that West Ham actually lost this weekend is the only positive point of their defeat against Nottingham Forest. Tonight, yesterday, as you said, they have lost the one match they couldn't afford to lose, and in a way, which is not, which is also almost hopeless because when you look at the facility Forest played and scored, and I didn't see a team capable of actually win these games. Preparing this show, I just noticed that Tottenham are now the worst Premier League teams at home this season, which is incredible.
Yeah, again, well, those poor fans who have to spend well over £1,000 for a season ticket at the new stadium. Oh gosh, yeah, it is a bit miserable, isn't it, for Spurs? Let's talk about slightly brighter things. Let's talk about the top end of the table. So with Liverpool, first of all, Liverpool lost at Brighton through a couple of Danny Welbeck goals. Liverpool continuing to show frustratingly inconsistent form.
Yeah. First, it's interesting to note that Danny Welbeck is playing his best football. The best football is in his career. In terms of statistics, possibly. But he's 35 years old now, so it's interesting to note. And yeah, Liverpool, it's another post-Champions League game defeat for them. They look terribly tired, weakened by injuries, because, of course, Ekitike went off this game against Brighton, but Salah didn't play. Alexander Isaac is still sidelined since December. So it's three options that could have made an impact on that game and on some in the previous one. But this game highlighted more the defensive problems of Liverpool than their offensive ones. And I think it will be very difficult because they will play against Paris Saint-Germain, of course, in the Champions League quarterfinals.
Yeah, and speaking on that theme, so the fact that I mean, it's a common theme throughout a lot of the teams in the Premier League that are really suffering a European hangover. Yeah. We include Newcastle in that as well. We'll get to that shortly. But the fact that Liverpool still have more European matches to go, unlike Arsenal, who have this 9-point buffer at the top, though Manchester City have a game in hand, Arsenal have a bit of space. They don't have that intense pressure, whereas Liverpool, having spent so much money in the summer, kind of need to qualify for the Champions League, and would be a huge failure if they don't, especially with a 5th place qualifying for the Champions League as well. I believe English teams need 1 draw in the remaining fixtures to guarantee that 5th qualification spot. So I have made a note. So Aston Villa, great weekend for Aston Villa, as I said, who after beating West Ham 2-0, they are now 5 points clear of Liverpool in 5th place. So 5 points between 4th and 5th, 5 points between Liverpool and 9th, Fulham. So you got Liverpool on 49, Chelsea on 48, Brentford and Everton on 46, Fulham on 44. I mean, you've even got Brighton and Sunderland on 43, who are 6 points behind Liverpool. Again, we said this before each week, but first of all, it's so exciting that so many teams have a chance of a variety of European qualifications. But also, speaks volumes about Liverpool and Chelsea's real, I don't want to say failure, but it's not a stumble. The last 6 weeks have been pretty awful form for both teams.
Yeah, for Chelsea, we can say that they are maybe tired because of their calendar with the Club World Cup last summer and everything. But for Liverpool, it's more difficult to explain, given the fact that they didn't play this competition, so didn't travel, didn't suffer the heat, and they have recruited a lot with a lot of money spent. And just talking about the battle for the European Champions League spots, we can recall that it has been made official that the 7th place in the Premier League this season will qualify for the next Champions League campaign if Aston Villa win the Europa League and finish 5th or 6th, and if Liverpool win the Champions League and finish 5th or 6th. So, yeah, the chances are thin, and it's difficult because Liverpool, in another context, of course, than Tottenham, the only good thing from this weekend is that Chelsea also lost.
On that note, to bring you a couple of other results. First of all, yes, Everton 3, Chelsea 0. An astonishing performance from Everton. A couple of goals there from Beto, another from Ndai, but also Jordan Pickford having a one-man wonder save. Save of the season campaign of his own after a couple of weeks ago with that incredible save at Newcastle United. Another astonishing save in this game. I thought I'd just take a moment to highlight the fact that Jordan Pickford has been fantastic. And if Everton qualify for Europe, Pickford may well be the reason, because he's one of those goalkeepers that actually wins points for his team.
Yeah, you're right to highlight Pickford's performance, but I think it's worth remembering that when David Moyes was appointed Everton's manager 14 months ago now, the club was on the brink of disaster, just above the relegation zone. So it's impressive to see them competing for European football next season, and I think it's a victory that they needed in their new stadium. It's their first big result.
Yeah, it did feel like the
game.
biggest result, but also I think this is the first time they've won 2 matches in a row at home as well. So,
okay,
there's not been that sort of that fortress atmosphere.
Yeah, it's important for them, for a club like that with such an identity at Goodison Park, to implement their winning spirit to the Il Dickinson Park.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. Like, compare that to, we should move on, but compare that to Spurs, who have, since they've moved into their home stadium, have, I think, won 6 league games in the last 2 seasons. It's astonishing. The other results we haven't had time to talk about: Bournemouth 2, Manchester United 2. Bournemouth coming from a goal down twice in that game to get a result. Great stat, which was Bournemouth become only the second team ever to have an unbeaten run of 11 matches in the same season that they also went winless for 11 matches. Yes, and the other match we did talk about was Newcastle United 1, Sunderland 2, but oh well, didn't have time. What a shame. Right, we need to move on to...
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Newcastle?
We're going to Italy. In Serie A, again, fascinating weekend for various reasons. We also have an unexpected victor, again, considering I think it was Pisa won last weekend, or Hellas Verona. But first of all, talk about the fact that the title race might be back on, because the last match of the weekend was Fiorentina 1, Internazionale 1. Fiorentina actually came from a goal down despite conceding in the first minute. So actually, Fiorentina probably deserve a lot of credit for managing to get a draw for this. A precious point, keeps them out of the relegation zone, but also against such a dangerous team as Inter. So should we give credit to Fiorentina first?
Yeah, I think I'm always in favor of the smaller teams to succeed against the big ones. But of course, we need to talk about Inter, because they have just picked up 2 points for possible 9 in the last 3 games. We have talked in the previous week, about their ability to score with a lot of different, thanks to a lot of different players. They have only scored 2 goals in their last 3 Serie A matches, so it's becoming difficult for them, and they have now only 6 points clear of Milan.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, because on Saturday, AC Milan won 3-2 at home to Torino. I mean, to be honest, AC Milan did make quite hard work of it, allowing Torino a couple of sloppy goals. But they did do enough. They got the victory, and that is 3 wins from the last 4, while Inter have no wins in 3. A loss followed by a couple of draws. So Inter only 2 points from the last 3 games. Could it be done? Do AC Milan smell blood, or are AC Milan too inconsistent? We've been stung too many times by them, haven't we, this season? Every time the door slightly creaks open, they set fire to it. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I do think that AC Milan's situation is paradoxical, because their record against big teams is notable. They have beaten twice Inter Milan. They have drawn against Como. They have I don't remember if they have beaten Napoli, but they must surely regret they have lost 8 points this season against the actual bottom 4 in the league, so Cremonese, Lecce, Verona, and Pisa.
And I think they conceded twice against Pisa as well at some point.
Yeah. So I think they drawn twice against Pizza. They lost at home to Cremonese in the opening day of the
Famously, yes.
season. Yeah. So these are points that could be needed in the at the end of the season, and it could cost them a lot.
Also, I mean, it has a feeling a bit like Groundhog Day for Inter, who were so good last season and it's challenging for so many competitions, and ended up trophyless. There's slight risk of them, they're not through to the final of the Coppa Italia yet, drawing
Yeah.
0-0 with Como. They're out of the Champions League. Although they did win the the Super Coppa.
Yeah, but you're right. But I think to lose the title now for Inter would be even more unforgivable than last season.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. Although, here's a question. If AC Milan are just in the title race, 6 points behind, are Napoli, because they're 7 points behind, and unlike the others, they've got real momentum. That's 4 wins on the bounce. They've got players coming back from injury. They're not in any other competition. The first match, they actually won at Cagliari 1-0 this weekend, with Scott McTominay scoring the only goal in the second minute. Do you think... we've been talking about Napoli finishing second potentially because they are only 1 point behind AC Milan. But do Napoli have time to catch Inter? 7 points. Is it 7 matches left? 8?
Because I have to say yes, because Inter have yet to put their rivals to bed. The only thing is that Inter got plus 42 goal difference, which is obviously a point more.
You say that.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but there's the new rule saying that it's no longer going to be the difference. If the teams are tied on points at the end of the season, there's a playoff.
Oh yeah, that's true. And I think it was close last or 2 years ago in Syria too. So yeah, you're right. But I think they are in the title race because, of course, they have now won 4 games in a row. But 7 points, even if it's close from 6, it's not the same. It would mean Inter lost 2, draw 1. It's a lot, and it's quite different from only just losing.
But we should point out that we didn't think it was possible, but then 3 weeks ago, in the last 3 weeks, Inter have lost a match and then drawn the other 2. They haven't won.
Yeah.
So therefore, now it's suddenly possible because all they have to do is do exactly what they've just done.
Yeah.
Right, we should probably power through a couple of others. So elsewhere on Friday, Genoa lost at home 2-0 against Udinese. On Saturday, big result. Ready? Big result. Don't know why I did that. Cremonese won at Parma. Cremonese with their first victory in about 17 matches, winning 2-0 in Parma, which means Cremonese are out of the relegation zone, which is astonishing.
Yeah.
Lecce actually fall in. They lost away at Roma on Sunday by 1-0. But Lecce and Cremonese are both on 27 points. They are separated by head-to-head. Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure, because the playoff exists for the champions. Does the same rule apply for relegation? Because they're tied on points for the last relegation spot.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
No, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know.
Okay, we'll get.
And
back
I
to
don't think it
everybody
would be.
next
I don't think it would be fair, to be honest.
Well,
I don't really. Yeah, I don't. Because if Cremonese have a better record on Lecce than Lecce's one on Cremonese, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of playoffs.
No, me neither, to be honest.
Yeah.
Particularly, me neither, just generally.
But just to point something about Cremonese, they hadn't won since the 7th of December, so it speaks volume of the weakness of their opposition. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, quite surprising for Parma, who've had a decent run of things recently.
Yeah.
Elsewhere on Saturday, to close off Serie A, on Saturday, Juventus won, Sassuolo won. Juventus took the lead in that game through Yilmaz. But ended up drawing with Sassuolo, who are something of a bogey team for them, has to be said. which means, and elsewhere, like I said, Roma defeating Lecce 1-0 and Como defeating Pisa 5-0. What a result that is. That means that Como are in 4th on 57, Juventus are on 54 and 5th, which tied on points with Roma. So yes, 3 points still separating 4th, 5th and 6th. But Como now, with that result, their goal difference sort of, again, the playoffs, I don't think applies to this. But yes, Como pulling clear of Juventus. Juventus with another disappointing result against the newly promoted side.
Yeah, and it's funny enough to note that Juve, Roma, and Atalanta are in the perfect similar form. They have in their last 5, they have won twice, they have drawn twice, and they have lost a game. So yeah, it's difficult to say who are gonna be in the Champions League, in the Europa and Conference League, because I think Como they seem to be unbeatable.
Really looking forward to
they have a great
the second
season.
leg of the cup, the
Yeah.
Italia Coppa with
Yeah.
Inter. That's going to be really interesting. Yes, the other thing I was going to say, because like Roma obviously defeating Lecce 1-0, they were in midweek action in the Europa League where they lost at home 4-3 against Bologna. Incredible game, but Bologna go through to the quarterfinals at the expense of Roma. But Bologna probably took it out of them too much. They lost at home to Lazio this weekend, 2-0. So yes, Roma very much, again, sort of focused. They only have the league to play for, 3 points behind Como. It's kind of all in now for them, isn't it? Because they have nothing else to distract them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Como, they have 1 game as the Coppa Italia, maybe 2 if they qualify to the final. But Juventus are in the same situation than Roma, so it will be a tough battle till the end, especially since they both have 54 points. So it will be interesting to watch.
Absolutely. So 2 Italian teams left in Europe. Bologna, the only side left in the Europa League. Do you remember the side in the conference?
Fiorentina,
they're through to the quarterfinals. So it'd be really interesting if they could theoretically get relegated, but also qualify for the Europa League if they win that competition. Right. The only other result we did say, Atalanta 1, Hellas Verona 0. That happened. Right. Okay. So off to the Bundesliga. The first result we should probably highlight, the first result of the weekend on Friday night, an astonishing result. RB Leipzig faced Hoffenheim, 2 Champions League fighting teams, and Leipzig defeated Hoffenheim 5-0. Hoffenheim, that's only 1 victory in the last 5 games, stuttering quite significantly at the wrong time. But you've just got to give credit for Leipzig. They were fantastic.
Yeah, they showed a lot of pragmatism and efficiency against Hoffenheim. They scored 5 times on only 9 shots on targets. It's quite incredible. And TSG, they have confirmed that they struggle away from home at the Red Bull Arena. I saw a statistic that said that they have only picked up 2 points from their last 8 away games in Leipzig. And this is a defeat that highlights current struggles from Hoffenheim. They only have won one of the last 5 matches. So it will be interesting to see if they can bounce back to qualify for the Champions League.
I was just having a quick look at, so when we just looked at Serie A, there were 7 clean sheets, Italian, and because you often talk about the history of Italian football and German football, certainly the league football. So 7 clean sheets in Serie A. Do you know how many goals were scored in the Bundesliga this weekend?
I don't, but I think a lot because there are 3-3, there are 5.
Yeah, I believe 40, which is astonishing, especially when you consider there are only 9 matches. Yeah, okay. I mean, yes, sorry. Just elsewhere, a couple of results generally. Heidenheim, that's bottom of the table, Heidenheim, already relegated, basically, Heidenheim. faced Bayer Leverkusen, and it was 3-3. Leverkusen took a 2-0 lead before they were pegged back, and then took the lead again, and then were pegged back. A quick word on Bayer. If they don't qualify for the Champions League, they only have themselves to blame, right? Because there have been too many results like this against relegation-threatened sides where Bayer just look, well, kind of, we're just lacking any kind of control, right?
Yeah, they do. And it's interesting because Heidenheim, even if they are already relegated, they are proving to be a thorn in the side of the European race. Because I don't know if you remember, but a month ago, they drew also a 3-3 against Stuttgart.
Oh,
So
yes,
it
of
was
course.
it's funny to see this kinds of team have a result against these other teams. And another team I just want to have a word about is Dortmund, because I think they have secured their second place this weekend with their win against HSV.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, on that note, I was about to ask. So, yes, Dortmund came from behind. They were actually 2-0 behind
yeah,
at halftime at home to Hamburg. But a couple of goals, both actually two penalties from Benta Baini and Juassi gave them the victory against Hamburg. So that means they're 9 points behind Bayern, but 8 points ahead of Stuttgart in third place. My question is going to be this. Did Dortmund get the credit they deserve? Because there have been chaotic moments this season where they look like they've not done particularly well against teams, but they've still only lost twice all season, and they are like so well placed in second position. That's a pretty good season, isn't it?
yeah. That's a pretty good season. As you said, only lost. Only losing two games is never something easy in the league, even in the Bundesliga, because you have some good teams. But the only thing is that they have drawn too many games. They have 7 draws right now. But which will be interesting to watch for this end of the season is that they will play against 3 of their 4 of the 4 teams behind them. I think it will be Stuttgart, Leipzig, and Leverkusen. So it will be interesting to see, because they will be like Heidenheim, a thorn in the side of the European race.
I was going to say Stuttgart, probably a word on Stuttgart because you mentioned them before. Undefeated in 8 in the league, up to third place. They won at Augsburg 5-2. I mean, yes. Well, it's a funny situation. They were 3-0 up by halftime. Augsburg brought it back to 3-2. Few sweating brows, but they kept on to it. But also they went out of Europe in midweek, losing in the Europa League. We should probably mention as well that Freiburg are actually through. They're in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. And sorry, I was going to bring up another one, but I'll finish with Stuttgart. Stuttgart, third place, out of Europe. It feels like actually them and Leipzig, it feels like they could pull away from Hoffenheim now, doesn't it? Because Hoffenheim seem to, again, have had that stutter of momentum, and these two feel like they're just gaining it. And actually, now that there's no European commitments for Stuttgart either, it does feel like, because they got that whole thing of putting all your eggs in one basket, and probably the strongest squad will prevail.
Yeah, and they have the experience of such an heraldic run, because Hoffenheim weren't destined to play that high in the league. So Leipzig and Stuttgart have done it in the past season. So it will be maybe easier for them to apprehend it from a psychological point of view.
The other, so Freiburg are one of 2 German teams. Well, sorry, I was going to 2 German teams, not including Bayern. Did you know Mainz were in Europe this year? It completely passed me by.
They will play against Crystal Palace.
Yes, that's exciting, isn't it? So let's talk about Mainz, because Mainz defeated Frankfurt as well, 2-1, which means Mainz are now 6 points clear of the relegation playoff spot. They are undefeated in 5 in the league. What a turnaround. But also means that because of the position in the Bundesliga, they can now put a bit more energy into Europe, because what an achievement that would be, trying to win a European competition.
Yeah, that's right. draw a parallel between them and Fiorentina, because Fiorentina are in the race to stay up in Serie A, but thanks to their victory, I think Mainz survival is practically assured. Just maybe another 4 or 5 points should do the trick for them. And yeah, they can now focus on the Conference League, especially since even if playing against Premier League side is always difficult, Crystal Palace have been in
Not
difficulty
convincing.
this season. So they actually have a good chance to go through and maybe win something this season, which is uh, incredible.
Yeah,
Which would
absolutely.
be
And again, it
incredible.
speaks volumes about the turn of form they've had this year as well.
Yeah,
Really has been fun to watch. A quick word on the other relegation candidates. So there was one big winner beside Mainz. There was one big winner in the bottom half because Wolfsburg, who are in the relegation zone, they took on Werder Bremen, who at the time were only 1 point above the relegation playoff spot. But Werder Bremen won at Wolfsburg 1-0, which means Bremen are now 4 points clear of that playoff spot. Wolfsburg are still 3 points behind St. Pauli in to get out of the relegation guaranteed zone. Werder Bremen, that's 3 victories from the last 4 matches, hitting form at just the right moments, but also as teams like Köln and Borussia Mönchengladbach, they also drew 3-3. So you've got Mainz, Hamburg, Borussia Mönchengladbach, Werder Bremen, Köln, all 6 points. 6 points separating them from the relegation playoff spot in St. Pauli. First of all, word on Werder Bremen and the fact they managed to turn this around. But secondly, Wolfsburg are at risk of being cut adrift, aren't they? Because they are 5 points from safety.
They are, and their dynamic is really bad. So it's the threat is really low, especially since we have to recall that Bundesliga only has 34 match days compared to Serie A, Premier League, or La Liga. So Wolfsburg, if they want to survive, they desperately need to win some things now.
Elsewhere, St. Pauli took the lead against Freiburg, but eventually lost 2-1, hence why they didn't climb any positions. And the only other result to bring you was Bayern Munich 4, Union Berlin 0. A couple of goals from Serge Gnabry, one for Elise, one for Harry Kane. Don't really need to talk about the game. It was impressive. Right, yes, let's park the Bundesliga there then and move off to La Liga. And again, exciting stuff. Let's start at the bottom, shall we? Because on Saturday, Elche, who have been in absolute freefall for the last 3-4 months, won at home to Mallorca 2-1, which means Elche leapfrog Mallorca and Mallorca drop into the relegation zone. Oh my goodness, that must relieve so much pressure for Elche. Mallorca actually took the lead in that game before Elche turned it around in the second half. Yes, that must be a huge sigh of relief. The fact that they'd gone so long without winning a match, and at one point were challenging for Europe at the halfway stage. That must just allow them a little bit and breathe.
Yeah, of course, but this is not quite a surprise, given the fact that Mallorca have only won 4 points away from home this season. So they will need to capitalize on the games they will play at home in this last games of the season, because they are in the race to stay up. They have won more games than Elche, for example. They will need to capitalize on that. And the other team we can talk about is Levante, which
yes, I was about to do that. Yeah, you got in there before me.
Sorry,
but yes, elsewhere we would say so. Levante 4, Real Oviedo 2. So that does feel like the death knell for Oviedo. That was really their last chance to pull up gap. But Levante, that means they move on to 26 points. So they are 3 points behind Elche. Levante, the last 4 matches, they've won twice, drawn twice. there's life in them that yet. So that's been a surprising move, that return to form.
Yeah,
But it also means that the teams above the relegation zone have even more to worry about.
of course. They since Luis Castro's arrival in January, they have won 13 points. So the half of their total by now, which is incredible. He's been doing a tremendous job, and of course now Mallorca, Elche, and even Sevilla and Alaves will need to earn some points if they want to avoid Levante's comeback.
Another team to actually a lot of winners in the bottom 5 positions. It's been mad, as well as Levante, as well as Elche, Alaves. On Sunday, Celta Vigo 3, Alaves 4. This is astonishing. Celta Vigo had a 3-goal lead in the 45th minute, and yet Alaves came behind to win. What a result! Which means that they would have stayed they would have gone into the relegation zone had they lost. Yes, huge result for Alaves. And again, sort of came out of nowhere. So that's 3 of the bottom 5 all winning this weekend. The reason I'm sort of rushing through is because not only again all this information, but I just wanted to highlight the fact that Mallorca 18th at 28, Elche 29 points, Alaves on 31. And Sevilla on 31. Sevilla, who are winless in their last 4 games, only picking up 2 points in that time. And a point above them, Rayo Vallecano, only 4 points clear the relegation zone, but again, sort of with a bit of breathing space.
Yeah.
Suddenly, when we were looking before at teams like Girona, Valencia have been at risk for a long time. Sevilla seem to have slipped by actually and continuously dropped down the table. Are Sevilla at risk for this?
Of course they are, and the fact that they have sacked their manager is a proof of that. Because they know they are in a threat for the relegation, and it would be a disaster at the scale of Spanish football. Sevilla, they are one of the biggest clubs in La Liga. They have won a lot of European cups, of course, but yeah, 31 points, only 3 above the relegation zone. It's difficult for them, and it would be a shame to see them being relegated.
Well, they hosted Valencia this weekend. They started the weekend 1 point behind Valencia, but lost at home 2-0, which means that not only are Sevilla now only 3 points ahead of the relegation zone, but Valencia are only 3 points behind Europe. That's the kind of season this is. It's very fun. It's chaotic to keep track of, but it is very fun.
Yeah, it is.
A few other results to talk about. Villarreal defeated Real Sociedad 3-1. Scoring all 3 goals in the opening 20 minutes. That was kind of an impressive result there for Villarreal as they try to solidify 3rd place, which would be a hell of an achievement. Elsewhere, Espanyol's drop down the league continues. They lost at home 2-1 to Getafe. Osasuna defeated Girona 1-0. And Athletic Club making a last dash for Europe as well, because they defeated Real Betis 2-1, which means 7th, 8th, and 9th place. Sorry, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th are separated by 1 point.
Yeah.
Which leaves us to chat about the top 2, which is sort of leave that to the end this time. Barcelona scraped a 1-0 victory at home to Rayo Vallecano. Rayo Vallecano, who are through to the quarterfinals of the conference, which is very exciting for them. Barcelona, again, just doing what they needed. They had a big result against Newcastle United in midweek. It felt like they just didn't get out second gear, did they, this weekend?
Yeah, but it could prove to be a very important victory, because with Real Madrid's win,
Stop spoiling everything.
But Barcelona, they only have 4 points. They are only 4 points up to Real, and they will play. They will play a lot of big teams. Not only talking about the Champions League, where they will face Atletico, but also in La Liga. I just took a look at their next fixtures, and they will play Atletico 3 times, Osasuna away, which is a very difficult away game. They will host Real Madrid. They will host Real Betis, even if they are not in top form. So it will be a tough
Yeah.
end to the season.
Very, very difficult ends, but
Yeah.
but again, in their control, I guess, is the big
Yeah.
thing. But you mentioned it, the spoilers. The Madrid derby was the last thing we were going to talk about today. Real Madrid 3, Atletico 2. Such a fun game. Some incredible goals as well. Atletico took the lead through Ademola Lookman in the first half. And then after the break, Vinicius Jr. scored a penalty. Valverde got another goal. He's in the hottest form of his life. Molina then equalized 2-2. Again, beautiful goal. Before Vinicius Jr. gave Real the lead again. Valverde actually got a straight red card with about 15 minutes left of the game.
Yeah.
But
What a mistake from him.
Real Madrid ended up holding on to complete the 3-2 victory. Like you say, that's a big victory in context, keeping 4 points behind Barcelona because they could have subsided, especially with 10 men at the end. This performance felt a bit different from Real, didn't it? Because they've had 2 very big performances against Manchester City in the last couple of weeks. It suddenly feels like Real are actually swinging their weight as it is. They suddenly look like, not necessarily a complete team, but they look dangerous, which they didn't before.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Because we don't have to forget it's their time of the season, from February, March till the end of the season. It was, as you said, a hard-fought victory for them with a superb Vinicius Junior. He scored in the space of 20 minutes a brace. It's one more goal than he had managed to do in his 19 previous games against Atletico. Alvaro Arbeloa, he had a mixed start. We have said it many times, but he has certainly impressed in recent weeks, notably knocking out Manchester City of the Champions League, now beating Atletico. If you remember, they had been beaten 5-2 at the Metropolitano in the early season. So it's interesting. With Valverde, even if he got sent off, he has now scored 6 goals in his last 5 games. Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham are back in the squad, so it will be interesting to see how they will do in La Liga and in the Champions League, where they will face Bayern Munich in the quarterfinal.
We should leave that there and go over to League 1. And actually, we're going to go straight to Sunday because 3rd place faced 5th and 4th place faced 6th. Sorry, that was a bit of a mouthful. And in both occasions, the lower league team won 2-1. So we're going to talk about those 2 results and the repercussions of that. So first of all, let's talk about Lyon. This is Sunday's fixtures. Lyon 1, Monaco 2. That is now 6 wins on the bounce for Monaco, and they climb within 1 point of Lyon in 4th place, the Champions League qualification spot. Lyon's form has disappeared. Again, what was it, 13 victories in a row? And since then, it's been basically nothing. And this also, we should point out, they were knocked out of the Europa League in which they topped the league phase. They've been knocked out of Europe this week as well to Celta Vigo, I believe. How worried should Lyon fans be? Because there's nothing in recent weeks that sort of suggested that this is going to be turned around.
Funny enough, I'm not particularly worried, or at least not more than 2 or 3 weeks ago, because their defeat against Monaco isn't really deserved. If you take a look at the game, you could see Monaco's second goal should have not been allowed because of a foul on Hendrick. But let's not talk of referee decisions. But the most important is that they have now some injured players coming back. Alfonso Moreira, Pavel Sulc, Malik Fofana are now back. Pavel Sulc did score against Monaco. Ernest Nwama is about to come back. Ruben Kluivert and Maitland-Niles too. So it will be interesting it's the good time for them. They will only have Ligue 1 to play by the end of the season. So
can I jump in there actually,
Yeah, you can.
because with Lyon, because obviously at the start of the season, everything that happened with the transfers regarding like selling so many of the best players, the emotional fallout from being relegated the season before, only for that to be withdrawn, or the appeal to be successful rather.
Yeah.
But about 4 weeks ago, Lyon were on this charge. I mean, you were talking about obviously a 1% chance, not even that, of winning the title because of the momentum that was drawn up. They'd won the league phase of the Europa League. They were into the quarterfinals of the French Cup. So a multiple front thing, and yet they suffered a disappointing exit in the cup, although, against a good opposition. Yeah. They got knocked out of the Europa League, which was somewhat disappointing, especially considering how good the league phase was. And now the league form is faltered. Is there a sense that even though this is a significantly better season than Lyon fans hoped for at the start, it does feel like they've let an opportunity slip?
Of course, because when you are given some positive things, you always want to have more. And now, the way they have lost in the Europa League, I don't want to talk about the French Cup quarterfinal because it was on penalties, and even if penalties aren't about luck or anything, it's not like they have actually lost the game. They have drawn to Lens in that game. So apart from that, but yeah, even if we have talked about the injuries, the squad, and all the context around their season, it would be disappointing if they were not to qualify for at least Europa League next season.
Elsewhere, midweek, Lille were also knocked out of Europe, but they responded this weekend, going to Marseille and winning 2-1. Is it the Velodrome? What's it called in Marseille?
Yeah, the Stade Velodrome.
An impressive Marseille took the lead through Ethan Nwaneri before a couple of late goals from Mounier and Olivier Giroud for Lille, which means that Lille are now only 2 points behind Marseille in third place. So 3 points separating third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Marseille, Lyon, Lille, and Monaco. Rennes are 2 points further back after a disappointing result this week. 0-0 at home to Metz. That's a missed opportunity there for Rennes, who could have been in the same position as Monaco. This is becoming the fight that we hoped it would, right? Because a couple of the teams that were struggling earlier in the season have come good, and the teams that actually found form are struggling.
Yeah, you're right. And it will be interesting to keep an eye on Ligue 1 next weekend because Marseille will play Monaco and Lens will play Lille. So Lyon could benefit of that weekend because they will play away at Angers. Angers, they are not in the European race. They are safe from relegation. So
Angers, who have just lost 5-1 at Lens, we should probably point out as well.
So it could be a nice opportunity for Lyon to finally fight back. It will be quite interesting.
Elsewhere, the only two French teams left in European competition: Paris Saint-Germain, obviously, but Strasbourg went to the quarterfinal of the Conference League. They won this weekend. They went to Nantes and won 3-2. Nantes took the lead twice before two late Panicelli goals gave Strasbourg the victory. The second one, which coming in the second minute of stoppage time. Important result there for Strasbourg. But I've left a couple of results to the end. I mean, first of all, Paris FC, their victory against Le Havre, winning 3-2. That was a fun match. Toulouse defeated Lorient 1-0. Elsewhere, I wanted to save this to last because this is a bit of a long shot. But at the bottom of the table, Metz are on 14, Nantes are on 17. They're probably gone. In the relegation playoff spot are Auxerre. They are 5 points. They won against Brest. A really disappointing result there for Brest. But Auxerre won 3-0 at home to Brest. which means that they're now 5 points behind Nice, who lost at home 4-0 to Paris Saint-Germain. Is there any chance Auxerre could catch Nice? Because that's 2 victories, again, only in 5 matches, but Nice have been terrible. Is there any chance, in your opinion, that Auxerre could win 2 more matches and Nice could lose all of them? Essentially, I'm asking, like, is there a possibility that Nice could still get dragged into that relegation playoff spot?
Yeah, I do think actually that Auxerre could be saved from relegation. Uh, Nice or even Le Havre could be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just realised that Le Havre are
but
level of Nice, but Nice
yeah,
is a more interesting
yeah,
conversation because
you're
they've been
right.
so bad.
There have been, and the fact that Auxerre they only have 22 points, but they would have deserved to actually win more games because they play a good football, which Nice and Le Havre haven't. So it would be a surprise to see them manage to grab points on Nice and Le Havre, in my opinion.
Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly. Oh, hello. And we're looking at Auxerre fixtures and to see if they face Nice, and they do. They face Nice on the penultimate day of the season. However, I've also just seen that they have to face Monaco and Lyon and Lille, so perhaps not. Although they also do have to face Nantes. So they're away to Le Havre next week. So that's a winnable game. And then they're at home to Nantes. So it could be in 2 weeks' time. They could have caught up. But like I say, a lot more hard fixtures. We should finish there. We should finish all the ground up there. And what's left? Well, some things we may have missed. Leo, what might I have missed? Me, of all people.
This week I only have one thing you may have missed. It happened yesterday in French media outlet that Zinedine Zidane is now reported to have reached an agreement with French FA to become the new manager of France.
To the shock of absolutely nobody.
that's a shock. But for those who don't know why and when he could become the manager, Didier Deschamps he will step down from his post of manager after the 2026 World Cup. It has already been announced, and I don't think if you expected the French FA to officialize Zinedine Zidane's arrival on the bench before the World Cup, it will not happen because, of course, they want to let Deschamps enjoy his last tournament. Yeah,
I'll be honest. I can foresee a situation where Zidane just walks in and wins, just like the next 2 or 3 trophies, because that's what he did at Real Madrid, right?
Yeah,
like,
he won 3 Champions League in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to be fair, it was possibly the greatest team ever created, apart from maybe Guardiola's Barcelona, although they didn't have that level of success in Champions League. But the fact that just like having so many talented individuals and just giving them sort of like general details that are letting them play as opposed to strict tactical setups. I mean, whatever, it sounds incredibly fun, right? Like, so like just an attacking French team, like, ooh, exciting.
Yeah, but this is so natural to see Zidane coming onto French bench.
Yeah, and rightly so. You know. Anyway, something else we may have missed. I just wanted to remind everybody about the title fight in Scotland. Celtic lost at Dundee United, which was a quick bit. So that means that Hearts are 3 points clear of Rangers and 5 points clear of Celtic with only 7 matches to go. It could happen. Elsewhere in the WSL, the Women's Super League in England, Manchester City won 5-2, which means they are 8 points clear currently with 4 matches to go. So they are almost there. But the bigger one I wanted to highlight was Chelsea, winners of the last 6 iterations of the competition. Difficult week for them. They drew 1-1 at London City Lionesses, which means they stay third. But I should point out, Arsenal have 2 games in hand. So if they win one of those matches, they'll go second. But if they win both those, they'll go within 5 points of the lead. But it would mean Chelsea are out of the Champions League places, which is worrying for such a successful team. And apart from anything else, strong rumors have come out this week saying that 2 of their legendaries turn around a lot, but one of their defenders, Millie Bright, is going to be see out her contract this summer, as is Sam Kerr, the Australian forward, who at one point was regarded as the best striker in women's football. Really concerning time for Chelsea's women's team. Ever since they were sold to, that's right, themselves. Right, that's it for the things you meant. Anything else I might have missed?
Not from my part.
Actually, I do have one more. I was feeling sorry for myself, and I wrote down a Newcastle United one. So in the Premier League, Newcastle United have thrown away more points from winning positions than any other team. They've thrown away 22 points from winning positions, which is astonishing because last year I think they were the second best record for that. But they've thrown away 22 points. Now, obviously, football doesn't work like this, but had they continued the form from last year, they would be 6 points behind Arsenal. Had they just held on to those points?
What a shame!
They would have been in a title fight. Oh my goodness. Anyway, right. I have one question for you. It's kind of trivial trivia, but it's more of a head scratcher. But it's more possibly the most astonishing stat I've heard this season, and genuinely unbelievable.
Okay.
I heard it on Match of the Day. In the Premier League, there is one team. You know the concept of being outrun. So if an opposition runs more combined kilometers than you, they've outrun you.
Okay. Yeah.
There's one team that has been outrun in every single match. Guess which team it is? I'll tell you now, it's surprising.
I could go with Arsenal. No?
But the right ballpark.
Okay.
The right city.
The right city when London has like 6, 7 other teams.
The right end of the table as well.
Okay, so Chelsea.
It's Chelsea. Astonishingly, Chelsea have been outrun in every single Premier League match they've played this season. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, this is insane.
Especially when you consider, again, like playing Wolves, Burnley, any of these other teams like struggling and fighting for. But they're
at home and away.
Home and away. But I was going to say fighting for their lives, but it sounds like they're actually fighting, whereas Chelsea seem to be having a nice stroll. How about that? I thought that was a good one. To sort of.
And do you know what? I have a trivia for you.
Yes, go for it.
As you mentioned, Bournemouth have drawn against Manchester United this weekend on the score of 2-2. And it has been their 15th draws of the season, which is obviously incredible. But do you know which two teams next?
Oh, this season?
Yeah, this season in the Big Five leagues. And just a clue for you, they have both the same number of draws.
Well, I'm going to immediately go for Celta Vigo, who had sort of 9 in their first 11 matches. No! Wow. No. Well, good for them. Okay. Gosh.
Do you want another clue?
Serial drawers. Well, I've got all the tables in front of me, but I don't have the statistics for draws. I'm just thinking, who are the draws? Okay, give me one of the leagues.
Premier League.
Oh, is it? Sorry. Okay, I thought it was across.
One of them is in Premier League.
I would say potentially Crystal Palace because they had a long unbeaten run.
Nope.
Leeds United have had a lot, but I don't think so. No, I'll tell you what. Tell me.
Leeds United.
Oh!
In the Premier League, and the other one is in Serie A.
Oh, it's in Serie A.
It's kind of surprising.
The amount of draws. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was AC Milan. They went on that huge unbeaten run.
No, it's Pizza.
Oh, that is quite interesting.
Yeah, with 12 draws since
they've won 2 matches all season. But that does actually make a lot of sense. Right, well, end on that note. Piece of pizza, indeed. Yeah, well, thank you everybody who's watching this live stream and watching it afterwards. Everyone, this and yet another episode of the European Soccer Show. Thank you, Leo, for joining me in your little box beneath.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everyone. Do not hesitate to like every week, follow, hit the bell, put a comment. And for the next shows, I don't know if you've noticed on the live broadcast, but you can see your messages appear here on my right. So let's chat, and we will answer to the comments.
Yes, please. I like the nonchalant way you said, like, feel free to do this, like, feel free to like our stuff, like, no, like it, please.
Yeah, you are free to like us or
we
not.
need the confirmation. We need it for sustenance.
Tell us who is your favorite.
Is that one person who came in one time, or that guy who was commenting last week? Yes, thank you again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. We'll see you probably not next week. We'll see you probably the week after, maybe round up the internationals.
In 2 weeks.
A lot of World Cup playoffs, so that might be worth discussing, depending what's happened. It might all be boring. But yes, we'll see you in a couple of weeks or so. Have a wonderful times until then. Take care of yourselves. Be nice to people.
Yeah, and see you soon. See you soon, everyone.